everybody! Let's work on the second unit of our course, Technology and Language Learning. The learning objectives for this unit are to use a digital tool to explain the way different technologies have been used in language teaching over the years, and to relate the use of resources to specific approaches to language teaching. Language learning has always been mediated by technology. Specialists in language teaching have devoted great attention to ways of improving the activity in order to help students become autonomous users of the target language. In this picture, we can see students in a language lab, a room equipped with tape recorders and headphones that became popular in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. In Unit 1, we define technology as the extension of our human capability in order to satisfy our needs or wants. The language labs emerged from the military's need during World War II to train large volumes of personnel in different languages. But of course, technology was present in language teaching much earlier than that. The use of pictures, for instance, dates back to the 17th century, when Comenius developed picture books to be used in the teaching of Latin to 7-year-olds. In his book, The Great Didactic, he makes the case for a sensorial approach to language learning that goes hand in hand with students' cognitive development. Take a minute or two to read what he wrote. As a teacher, he felt the need to use resources, especially pictures, that would lead students to a better understanding of the foreign language. So, from the old picture books created by Comenius to the latest generation of digital devices, technologies are considered powerful tools to improve the language learning experience. The choice of technologies is always related to conceptions of learning and understandings of how languages should be taught. In the audiolingual method, the emphasis was on acquisition of structures and patterns in common everyday language. These patterns were elicited, repeated, and tested until the responses given by the student in the foreign language became automatic. The conception of learning underlying this method was that languages are learned mainly through imitation and repetition. Therefore, the technology that would best support this view was the language lab. Warschauer wrote that virtually every type of language teaching has had its own supporting technologies. For instance, teachers who followed the grammar translation method, where the teacher explained the grammatical rules and the students performed the translations, used the technology of the blackboard. Later, the blackboard was replaced with the overhead projector, which allowed for a teacher-dominated learning approach. On a different perspective, social-cultural approaches to language learning are based on the assumption that humans develop the ability to acquire meaningful speech in their interaction with others. One of the best ways to structure instruction in a form that is meaningful for learners is to connect it to their real lives in the real world. Because all higher mental processes, including the learning of a second language, are mediated by the meaningful aspect of language, it becomes essential for second language teaching to focus on the meaningfulness of speech. I would like to invite you to watch this video in which an adult is interacting with two children around an experiment called Sink or Float. As you watch, try to answer the following questions. What makes the use of language meaningful? What are the affordances for language learning in this interaction?
Good. Wait, it's Alvin's turn. Alvin's gonna try. Which one are you gonna try? The hot dog?
It floats.
It floats. Okay, Dina wants to try the tiger. Oh,
Yes.
what happens to the tiger? What happens to him, Alvin?
It floats.
It floats too. These all float. Okay, wait. Look, let's take these out first. Can you help Mom take these out? So we put it on our paper that says things that
Float.
float. Okay. Alvin gets a turn. Look, Alvin's gonna try. Oh, now what happens if we push it down?
It sinks.
Oh, does it sink?
No.
You try. Push it all the way down.
It sinks.
Wait, take your hand out now. And what happens to it? It still floats. Okay, let's squeeze it out so we don't make our paper wet, too wet. Things that float. Okay, Dina's gonna try one. Oh,
Yes.
what happens to the whale?
Yes.
It floats. Can you say float? Oh, and the rock. Look. Oh, the rock sinks. Okay, so take out our whale, and the whale floats, and the rock sinks. Okay, Alvin's turn. Alvin will try one now. Okay. Oh, look at the bottle top.
It floats.
It floats. Okay.
Let's push it
Let's
down.
push it down. See if it still floats. Oh, it floats to the top.
It floats to.
Again.
It's too bottom.
Oh, but then it floats to the top when you move your hand. Okay, Dina's turn. Dina wants to try that one. Okay, shake it out. What happens? Oh, look at this one. Oh, what happens to it?
It sinks.
It sort of sinks, doesn't it? It does sink. Whoa! Alvin sunk. Wait, Alvin's turn now. Is that cool? So have fun. You can try this activity, little experiment at home too. You want to say bye?
Yeah. Bye.
In this case, the technologies that support meaningful speech are the concrete objects, manipulatives, in combination with a consistent use of the language to maintain interactions in a hands-on experience that integrates knowledge of sciences. Children learn by experimenting and interacting. Repetition is not done mechanically, but children have the chance to use the same structure several times. It sinks, it floats. Contemporary perspectives of language education acknowledge that the focus on language education in the 21st century is no longer on grammar, memorization, and learning from rote, but rather using language and cultural knowledge as a means to communicate and connect to others around the globe. So to sum up, the choice of resources and technologies will always be connected to conceptions of teaching and learning that are intrinsically related to our approaches to language teaching, whether they are based on well-known teaching methods or in our own methodologies. Thank you. See you in our next unit.